Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're reacting to the Western Michigan versus Ohio State football game of week 2. This was a pure beatdown. This was the game when we talk about Ohio State fans wanting just to see our team absolutely go basically pure 2019, where that team was just dominating. They left no mercy. This is what we wanted to see. It was a pure ass kicking, 56-0. They took it to Western Michigan. And in this game, it was like from the first jump, they were hot, the offense was clicking, the defense took over. They actually, believe it or not, didn't allow more than 100 total yards for Western Michigan in the entire game. Everything was looking good. The offense, like I said, was looking good. The pass game, the run game was very good this game. Offensive line, even though it was a very poor competition, the offensive line looked pretty damn good. Now, there were a few miscues on the offensive side of the ball and also defensive side of the ball where some turnovers could have happened for the defense. Offense missed a few big plays we could have had that we're going to need to have those whenever we go up against better competition. But overall, I think it was a very good game. Now, I'm going to kind of go through, give my reaction, like I said, from first quarter to the fourth quarter, what the way I was kind of feeling, my reaction to the way the game went, and then kind of go through each category, like I said, offense, defense, special teams, kind of talk about certain players, coaches, kind of how everybody did as a whole, and just give my reaction to the full game. So without further ado, I'm going to go and get straight into this. So if you're going to enjoy it, as always, make sure you're going to drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, as you can see, we got 56-0. Like I said, this was pure domination. There was no mercy for Western Michigan. Ryan Day, this was the Ryan Day I've been saying I've wanted since 2019. He finally basically went out there and he said, I'm not giving any fucks about your team. From the first jump, the offense was clicking. Everything was moving from a run game to a pass game. Will Howard was making some nice throws. There was a few plays where it looked like they handed it to the running back. Cameraman even thought they were going to the running back. I know you all saw if you were watching the game. Will Howard had the ball and then he pitch it down to a tight end, took it for about 5 or 10 yards. All right, getting into that, like I said, from first quarter to fourth quarter, kind of talking about the game. First drive, like I said, run game was there. We were moving the ball. Everything was going good. Will Howard got into a flow. Second drive of the game. This is where we pretty much, we knew we were not losing. They ran a little concept of Jeremiah Smith had a little curl route. And I think it was Mecca Buka kind of ran a little drag route underneath, a little jet sweep type route. And basically, if the corner went down at Mecca Buka, Jeremiah Smith had the ball. All he had to do was beat the safety and boom, touchdown. If they went with Jeremiah Smith, Mecca Buka could catch the ball out of the jet sweep, and he could easily have gone up the sideline for a touchdown. Defense made the decision easy for Will Howard. Jeremiah Smith caught the ball, and it was like he just took it straight to the house. Now, I do believe in the second quarter there was a play, I forget if it was the second or third quarter, where we had multiple opportunities for scores. I think it was the second quarter where Will Howard had Jeremiah Smith on a deep post route. He had Jeremiah Smith who had his defender beat by 10 yards. And Will Howard, he kind of waited, then he threw the ball. And it's I don't know if it just came out of his hand funny or if he just blatantly underthrew the ball, but it was underthrown. The defender caught up to him. He knocked the ball down. That right there could have been easy 6. I believe we came away with no points on that drive. So right there, this 56 could have been 63. And like I said, I believe it was a third quarter probably. We had Quinshon Judkins on a 70-yard rushing touchdown. That should have easily been a touchdown. But we got called back. Like I said, we're shooting ourselves in the foot by a blatant hold. It was a hold. I will give the refs that. The refs did make a few questionable calls in that game, but it was a hold. I forget exactly who it was that was holding, but he had to get defender. He didn't even need to hold him. It was just a stupid, bonehead move. He was holding the guy for no fucking reason. So right there is 2 plays that pretty much elated possibly 70-0 score. But like I said, as the game went on, it was everything worked. It didn't matter what we did. Throw the ball, running the ball with Quinshon, running the ball with Travion, throw it to Jeremiah, Emeka, Carnell. It did. G. Scott got a little bit involved. We got backup tight ends. We got backup receivers, backup quarterbacks through touchdowns. It literally didn't matter what we did. Everything worked for us in this game. Now, kind of looking at the box score, Ohio State, they had a very solid game. Like I said, when it came to everybody, how they did. Quinshon, they didn't. When it comes to Quinshon and Travion, they're not going full dominant for one player. They're kind of splitting the carries up, which I do like. In the past, Travion has always been our number 1, and he still is our number 1. But at times, he does get hurt because he has to take on a bigger workload. This year, we can kind of split it up. One thing about the Ohio State offense that I will say was very good in this game. The running game was there. We made a devoted effort to where we are going to run the football. I loved how they kind of split up the carries. They didn't go full Travion, full Quinshon. Even whenever they went into the backups and they got to third quarter, fourth quarter, they didn't go full just James people. They mixed in Sean Williams-Dixon. They mixed in a couple of other guys. There was a point where Mason Maggs, he's a quarterback, and he took a handoff from Lincoln Kierholtz, I believe, and ran the ball. When I saw the play happening, I was like, oh, just a run play. But then whenever I saw him get up, and then I was like, ain't he a quarterback? And I was like, at this point, we're just going to the bottom of the barrel. We're just letting anybody play anything at this point. Now, overall, when I talk about the run game, like I said, they made a devotion. Now, when I look at this, I'm saying, okay, we played against a bad team and we ran for 273 yards. Where does that translate against, say, like, the good teams like the Oregon we're going to be playing in the future? Penn State has a very good rush team. Alabama, the Georgias. Where do we fare against those teams? The Michigans. Where do we fare against them? Could we still get 100, 125 rushing yards in those games? I think we can. When we go to Eugene to play Oregon, when we go to Happy Valley to play Penn State, when we play Michigan at the end of the year in the rivalry game, in the game, can we run the ball? Because I think Will Howard, whenever it comes to the passing game, which I'll get to that in a second, he's poised enough to get us around 250 passing yards and maybe like a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns in a good game, in one of those big time games. When it comes to the run game, that's the big question mark for us. Now, when it comes to running the ball, I will say the offensive line has been a lot better this year. So far in these 2 games, now, like I said, we've played Akron and Western Michigan. Not the greatest opponents. The offensive line has looked very good. They've handled themselves. They're pushing people around, which I will say is a good thing. Now, in a few weeks, I do believe we play Michigan State in week 5, I think is whenever it is. It's our first road game. That is going to be a challenge for us. That's whenever I think we're going to find out a lot about this offensive line, even though Michigan State hasn't been the greatest competition the past few years. They are 2-0 right now, so they are going to be a bit above average team this year in the Big Ten, so it will be a challenge for us. But overall, when it comes to this team, if we can keep the run game going and we can play off of the run game, get the play action going, Will Howard, the way he's able to kind of do that read option, he can run a little bit, and it kind of gives the defense options. It's not like with Kyle McCord and C.J. Stroud where it was just drop back and throw. Now it's you're going to have to watch to see if the ball goes to the running back, then the quarterback could possibly run it, and then he could also throw it to a little 5-yard slant. So it's like instead of just one guy, you got to watch the ball, and then him trying to throw it to somebody, now it's like you got 3 different options, plus also the receivers you got to cover out there. There's a lot you got to watch. Now let's get to the throwing game. The throwing game was very good. I thought the quarterbacks did good. When it comes to Will Howard, he played a very good game. Everybody wants to right now compare. I will go off subject a little bit. For the Syracuse game when they played Georgia Tech this weekend, Kyle McCord, the former quarterback of Ohio State, he had a good game. I'll give him that. He had, I believe, like 380, 370 yards, correct me in the comments, and 4 touchdowns. He had a very good game. But again, he played Georgia Tech. There were a few plays in this game against Western Michigan where Will Howard almost got sacked, and he was able to kind of dodge and weave and run for touchdowns. Will Howard had a rushing touchdown. We'd never seen Kyle McCord do that, I don't think, at least. If Kyle McCord was the quarterback for this game, he probably would have been trying to force balls. He would have made the weird reads. Will Howard just said, I'm going to do whatever the coaching staff asks me. I'm just going to do my job, get it to my playmakers' hands. I'm going to take the simple throws. There was, I believe, a throw in that game where it's like it looked like the receiver was kind of open downfield. Kyle McCord would have probably tried to fit it in there, but he had another drag route coming underneath. Will Howard was patient. He understood the play. He took his throws. He did the correct things. He played off the run game. He played off the play action, and he just made the quick throws. Jeremiah Smith, if he's open, bang. If BUCKEYES open, bang. And sometimes it wasn't like he was looking for like the wide open throw like Kyle McCord sometimes would. He would wait sometimes for the receiver to be 10 yards free of wide open space. This guy with Will Howard, he's throwing it on a fucking fishing line. And when we go down the quarterbacks, because there's been some question marks about like, man, if Will Howard works out this year, what are we going to do next year? Because Will Howard's a senior. He's going to probably go to the draft this year. I don't know where he's going to get drafted though. But what are we going to do next year? Oh, hey, you have this guy named Julian Sayin, who was a 5-star recruit to Alabama last year, and then he transferred to Ohio State. He could probably be a starter. Devin Brown looked good too, I will say that, but he's probably never going to be a starter here because he's had chances. He started in the bowl game last year. He started in some couple other games last year as well. He just isn't the guy. He's a playmaker. He's got some skills. He's just not a pure, just dominant quarterback that we want running our offense. When I watched Julian Sayin, he's the guy I would love to have be our quarterback next year. So coming away from this game, I will say Julian Sayin could be our guy in the next few years. When it comes to the receivers kind of running through it, like I said, Jeremiah Smith, he's a dog. He's going to be a beast for our offense this year. And the fact that we have him for not just this year, but 2 more years, like mind blown. How is he a freshman? He's this good. It seems like our offense, like I said, with the run game, how everybody's getting involved. The receiving game as well, it's the same exact thing where it's not like we're just force feeding Marvin Harrison Jr. We're not just force feeding one guy. We go to everybody. Jeremiah Smith and BUCKEYES, they're like our prime guys. Cardinal Tate as well. Brandon Ennis is getting involved a little bit. But everybody's getting involved. Like, everybody's getting a piece of the pie whenever it comes to scoring touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins got 2. Trevor Henderson got 2. James People in the back half of the game got a touchdown. Will Howard, like I said, threw the touchdown to Jeremiah Smith. He even got a rushing touchdown. That's one element about this offense that I do like, is that everybody's getting a piece of the pie. Everybody's sharing. Everybody's playing selfless football. And I really enjoy that. Now, moving over to the defense. As you can see by the score, Western Michigan, a big donut. That is awesome. Now, it doesn't matter if you play a good team or a bad team. When you can hold a team to 0 points, that is fucking awesome. It doesn't matter if you're playing a team like Georgia or Alabama, or if you're playing South Central Louisiana State University. If you understand that reference, you're awesome. But whenever it comes to the defense, like I said, 0 points is awesome. They got sacks, not the most amount of sacks. They didn't get any interceptions or fumble recoveries. Defense was not very good on turnovers. They had opportunities though. Sonny Styles, I believe, he had a chance for a pick in this game. He could have ran that one back if he would have got his hands on it. He missed it. And I believe, I forget who the name was on the defense. It was somebody that I think it was Aaron Scott or somebody else. I forget who the name was, but he jumped the route. I believe it was on the Western Michigan's 20-yard line. He jumped the route. He could have had that ball, but I think he stumbled a little bit right before he jumped it, and he just kind of put his hands in there and smacked the ball down. Overall, when it comes to the defense, like I said, I want to talk about the defense more because they held him to 0 points. They were awesome. They contained the pressure. They didn't allow rush lanes. That's one thing I do also like about the defense. I can kind of talk about. When it comes to the pass, we allowed quarterbacks. Sometimes they would get, our defense would kind of rush. They would start pressuring. And then it was like the quarterbacks, you could just escape. Sometimes you had a quarterback spy, like with a linebacker, that could come in and take him down. But if that quarterback spy missed, oh no. Now it almost seems like with our rush lanes, the defensive tackles are trying to go up, the edge rushers are going out. But then it's like they have like each time, it's like one of you is going to keep on going up and funneling the guy, and the other guy's going to go up, but then he's going to come back in. So it doesn't matter whether the quarterback decides to get flushed out and go outside the pocket, or if he decides to just go straight ahead, just try to go rush for some yards. Either way, there's either going to be a linebacker and another edge rusher coming in to try to take you down there, and the D tackles could possibly turn around and try to get you. Or if you try to flush out, the edge rushers can then try to just, like I said, keep going up and around, and you're fucked. In the past, it just seems like the edge rushers, they were just 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and the quarterback's like, okay, well, see you guys, I'm going to go this way. But I do have a question for all of you that are watching. If you're watching this video and you're a Ohio State fan, if you're still watching at this point of the video, you're awesome. I love you. I want you all to comment down below if you're still watching. Do you think this defensive line of Ty Hamilton, Jack Sawyer, JTT, and Tyleik Williams, you can even throw in guys like CJ Hicks, you can go throw in Sonny Styles, the linebacker, just the front seven in the defensive line as a core. Do you think this is top 5 in the entire college football? I'm not talking just Big Ten. I'm not talking just Power 5. All of college football. Do you think this is a top 5 front 7? Because with the amount of NFL talent that's here, I think this is easily a top 5 front 7, top 5 defense easily. Now the question mark with this team is, can they keep on the pressure? Because there is times where they mix the pressure ups. Like one play they're like full on blitzing, another play they're a little bit back. They don't really have times where it's like, and I might just be talking nonsense. I might not watch the game as closely as some of you do. But there's times where it just feels like they take the gas off too much. And it's like, what are you doing? When you have, I say it all the time in these videos, when you have the fucking tiger by the neck, you have the lion down, you're standing on their neck. Stomp the bitch out. That's one thing I will say that about the team that they need to keep up, like keep at it. Ryan Day, I said it already, he needs to get back to that 2019 version of himself where it was like, if you're beating the team and the team's already dead, I'm going to kill you more. But overall, looking at the team, like I said, looking at the game, they played awesome. I loved this performance. They was a pure domination, and they kicked the living shit out of Western Michigan. But other than that, I think I'm going to wrap up there. Hopefully you guys did go and enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy it, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated to do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you have a different opinion, do you agree or disagree with anything I said? If you want to go ahead and leave a comment on what you think about, like I said, that question. Do you think Ohio State has a top 5 front 7 in the entire FBS this year? And if you just want to leave your opinion on how the game went, if you're an Ohio State fan or a Western Michigan fan, and you want to leave your complete opinion down in the comment section down below on how you think the game went, how you think the team did, go ahead and do that, and I'll be more than welcome to talk with you guys. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. I upload Ohio State content here whenever it comes to game reactions, any like big time news whenever it comes to Ohio State stuff. So if you're a fan of that type of stuff, like I said, subscribe, notification bell, stay up to date. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.